Hi, welcome to Intro to Programming for Business Majors. This is week 2. Again, this is a very introductory programming course for Java for business majors, people who aren't, in a computer science type program. So we just kind of stick to the basics. In this lesson, we're going to be using some sample code. So when you go ahead to week 2 in our Canvas, and you'll go to the chapter 2 sample code and just download it. Once you've downloaded it, you could come as a zip file. For me, what I like to do with zip files, I just right click and I say open in a new tab or window, depending on which version you've got. Now here it is. This is the code. As you can go in here and look, you see you've got a whole project thing set up with programs, a bunch of practice programs. So go ahead, let's go back, just to where we have it, so it's no longer zipped. So you don't have the zipper on it folder anymore. You're good. You'll copy that, and you're going to put that in the source folder for your NetBeans, which will just be your documents, and then NetBeans projects, just copy and paste it there. And then as we get to it, it'll be ready to use it. So let's go ahead. We're going to pop over now to the, sorry. All right, pop over to the PowerPoint. All right, so we're going to start with chapter 2. I think chapter 2 is going to take us 2 weeks because it's a pretty big chapter. The main topics we're going to follow in this is parts of a Java program. We're going to learn the print and print line methods and the Java API. We're going to learn about variables and literals, primitive data types, arithmetic operators, and combined assignment operators. We're also going to be creating named constants. We're going to learn about the string class, scope, comments, programming style, using the scanner class for inputs, and dialog box. Let's quickly listen over. This was the first program we did. We did this last week. This was your project. It was the Hello World. And it's got just a few simple parts to it we're going to kind of go over. You've got these areas to look at here. So there's a few things to look at. We got these top area here. This is comments. We see this // that means this is not going to run. This is just for humans to read later. Then we have our public class, our main, which you have to have a main. So this is the bare minimum you have to have for a Java program. You have to have you have to have your public class and at least one main method line in there. So let's kind of take a quick look over here. What is a class? Well, a class is a blueprint for attributes and methods. If we're thinking about animals, we would say that lions, dogs, and bears are subclasses of animals. So animals, a class, lion, dog, and bear would be like subclasses. If we thought about like Simba and Mufasa from The Lion King, they would be instances or objects of lion. So they would be instantiating the class that is lion. Okay. An object is an instance of a class. And that's these terms are so weird, but it's an instance. That's the version you're going to use. The class. Think of the class was like a blank form, and once you start to fill it in, now it's an instance. It contains attributes, data, and methods operators. Simba, their attributes be like golden brown hair, hazel eyes. Mufasa, brown hair, brown eyes. They both eat and hunt, so that would just be standard attributes for both of them. So very basic parts of a program, and all the early programs we're going to have are going to contain only one class, but a Java source code file contains one or more classes. You have to have at least the one. So that's the very beginning. We have this public class, and it's public class is always the same name as your program. If one or more class in the source file, only one of them may be public. So that's the one. And the public class is the same file name as the source code, and it must match. Class name simple must be a simple.java. Each Java class can be separated into parts. See this example? We have an example here is simple Java, and we put that into, that's what we pulled up for you. And I want to go ahead, let's pop over to NetBeans really quick. And see if I can adjust so we can see better. Sorry. It doesn't do much help, does it? There we go. So what you can do here is you can go over to File and you can say Open Project. And if you moved the file where I told you to, once you say Open Project, you should see it right in there. So Chapter 2 sample code. You click OK, and it'll appear over here. You might see a little red dot error. There's some errors in the source packages. I don't know what they are. I haven't dug through it yet. But we go through here. You click on that, and you can look at Chapter 2 sample code, and then you'll see all these programs. And one of the programs is called Simple. So to do that, we're just going to go ahead and double click on it. It'll open up the code for us. We have this code. It's package Chapter 2 sample code, public simple. It's got the one method, the main method, and it's just a printout saying programming is great fun. So if we wanted to compile this, there's some commands you use. Use this compiler called JVAC, and you type in the file name. So you have to have the extension as needed, Java Simple, and then you run the file Java Simple. Now it's a little different than that because this is part of a package. Let's see if I can readjust. Hold on. Sorry, the screen. So you can see this is part of a package, chapter sample code. So that's going to make it a little different for us right here. So we'll make some changes. I'll show you how to do it in the command prompt. What first advice I would do is go to your NetBeans project folder. You've got it in. Just go ahead and open up sample code. Go to SRC, which is your source. Pull that up. Click again. Now just go down and we'll find this simple code. Now one advice is to, if you hold down the shift key when you right click, of course, let me pull it up here so you guys can see what I'm trying to do here. So right click, hold down the shift with the shift key held down, and you're going to see a thing that says copy as path. Copy as path, then open up like a notepad or something you've got and just bang, and you'll see you've got this whole thing with your entire path in there. So what I do is I just take this, I delete the first part, I just put in a CD, and then I go and I remove everything after up till the final prompt here. So, okay. So it's CD users, then you can just copy this, open up a command prompt, which you can find by just typing in CMD. And you'll get a command prompt. It'll come up with a C like there. So you copy and paste, and there you go. Now we're in the file, in the folder. And if we use directory, we can find it. Simple class, that's what simple.java is what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in JVAC simple.java. And if there's no errors, it'll compile, and there we're good to go. If we have errors, you'll see it, you'd get an error. Okay, so now we're going to type in cd ... and that'll take us back one code. And then we type in Java chapter 2 sample code dot simple, and it'll run. Programming is great fun. So that's basically compiling. I'll show you some other methods as we get more into it, but just from this project area, that's the simplest compiling method I could show. I'm gonna hop over now to here so that we compile this. That's what made it run. And when you compile it, you're gonna notice I now have a simple, hold on, let me pull it down. You notice I have a file called simple.class. That's the file that I ran. So simple.java is the source file. Simple.class means I've compiled it, and that's when I typed in Java and ran it. That's what worked. So that's base compiling, and we'll do more and more of that as the class goes on, so you're used to it. Looking at the set, the code we had in simple set, this is a simple Java program. This is a comment. It is not run by the compiler. This is just for you. This is for you to remember, read, and write if you pass it on to somebody else. Because remember, most time programs, multiple people work on them. This is the class headers, the public class header simple. So notice it has to be the same name, and notice it's capitalized, so the program file has to be capitalized. This area of the body of the class simple, all the data and methods for this class will be between these two curly braces. This is the method header. This is the main method. The main method is where Java application begins. You have to have a main method, okay? This area of the body is where the main method, all the actions completed during the main method will be contained between these two curly braces. So always be aware of what braces you're in. Because if you type your command after this curly brace in here, that's not going to work because it's not in the main method. Okay. And this is a Java statement which is executed when the program runs. Notice this is a Java statement to be executed, so this one stops with a semicolon. Okay, you see the semicolon, you know that's a statement that needs to be run. Okay, so now we're here with parts of a Java program, the comments, ignored by compiler, it's a header. In this example is just a single line comment. You can make more comments. Class header. Header tells the compiler things about the class, such as what other classes can use it, public, and that it is a Java class, and that the name of the class, simple. Curly braces, when associated with a class header, they define the scope of the class. When associated with the method, they define the scope of the method. The main method, this line will be executed exactly as shown in an example, except for args, variable name can be a programmer defined. And this is the line of code the Java command will run first. This method starts the Java program. Every Java application must have a main method. Java statements, when the program runs, the statements within the main method will be executed. Can you see what line in the example will do? System out, print line, programming is great fun. Well, we already saw the output. Okay, so Java statements, look back at the previous example, we can see there's only one line that ends with a semicolon. That's because it's the only Java statement of the program. The rest of the code is either comment or other Java framework code. Comments are ignored by the Java compilers. They have no need for semicolons. Other Java code elements do not need semicolons. Are class headers, terminated by the braces, method headers, terminated by the braces, and the curly braces, they're part of the framework. So a short review, Java is case sensitive. All Java programs must be stored in a file with a .java file extension. Comments are ignored. A .java file may contain many classes, but may only have one public class. And if a Java file has a public class, the class must be the same name as the file. Java applications must have a main method. For every left brace or opening brace, there must be a corresponding right brace or closing brace. And statements are terminated with semicolons. Comments, class headers, method headers, and braces are not considered Java statements. Let's take a quick look here. We've got some special characters. The double slash marks the beginning of a comment, single line of comments. Open and close parentheses used in the method header to mark the parameter list. Open and close curly braces encloses a group of statements such as the contents of a class or a method. Quotation marks used to enclose a string of characters such as a message to be printed out on the screen. And semicolon marks the beginning and end of a statement. The quotation mark is important to point out that if you put something up here in quotes like we did in the code here, go back if I can find it. The program knows not to try to interpret this. It doesn't say, oh, it's program or any of these keywords is this command. No, this is just a string. So don't read it, just inhale it and spit it back out when we ask for it. And then finally, the semicolon marks the end of a complete programming statement. Now, many of the programs we run, you're going to run in the console window, which the command prompt we just did called other things in Linux and Apple. It's normally a console or a terminal there. The console window that starts Java applications typically called standard output device. The standard input device is typically the keyboard. Java sends information to the standard output device by using the Java class stored in the standard Java library. Console output, Java classes in the standard Java library are accessed using Java application interface. The Java standard library is commonly referred to as the Java API. We'll get deeper into what APIs and what this means. The previous example uses the line system out print line. This line uses the system class from the standard Java library. The system class contains methods and objects that perform tasks. The out object is a member of the system class, contains the methods print and print line. Print and print line methods actually perform the task of sending characters to an output device. The line print line, programming is great fun, is pronounced system.out.println. Okay. The value of the parenthesis will be sent, inside the parentheses will be sent to the output device, in this case, a string. The print line method places a new line character at the end of whatever is being printed out. The following lines is being printed out on two separate lines. Will be printed out on two separate lines since the first statement sends a new line, basically sends an enter command, so you hop to the next line. Enter or carriage return, we used to call it. The print statement works very similar to print line. However, print statement does not put a new line character. These lines will be printed on the same line. The output will look like this. In fact, you'll notice something interesting here. You don't have the spaces, because the words run right in together because there's no space at the end of the quotes here. If you actually put a space there, it would change the output. For all the previous examples, we've been printing out strings of characters. Later, we'll see that much more can be printed. There are some special characters that can be put into the output. This line will have a new line at the end, and this is just a regular print statement. The /n is basically a return statement, and it's an escape sequence that represents a new line character. The slash will interpret. So I know I told you normally Java won't interpret anything inside quotes, but a slash is an escape, so it will interpret that. Escape sequences allow the programmer to print characters that otherwise would be unprintable. Here's a couple of print examples. New line, tab, backspace, carriage return, causes the cursor to go back to the beginning of the current line, not the next line. Backslash, this causes a backslash to be printed. You have one escape. So if you want to actually have a backslash in your printout, you have to have two in a row. Backslash single quote causes single quotation mark to be printed. Double quote causes the double quotation mark to be printed. Because otherwise it won't print quotation marks. They're at the end of the line. But if you actually want a quotation mark to print out, that's how you have to do it. Okay. Even though the escape sequences are comprised of two characters, they are treated by the compiler as a single character. This right here is system outline print with NN. You got some tabs. You have another escape here, so it's going to go. So it should go computer sellers top line, next line. Tab, so it should be indented. Computer games, next line. Tab, coffee, next line. Tab, aspirin, and this will be the next line because this is print line, so notice that's the end. So that's how it comes out here. All right. Let's go ahead. You know what? We're going to stop this video and I'll pick up the variables and literals in the next video. Go ahead and stop recording and see you in the next video.